Hence, the auxiliary function is possible and useful only insofar as it serves the leading function, without making any claim to the autonomy of its own principle. For all the types appearing in practice, the principle holds good that besides the conscious main function, there is also a relatively unconscious auxiliary function which is in every respect different from the nature of the main function. From these combinations, well-known pictures arise. The practical intellect, for instance, paired with sensation, the speculative intellect breaking through with intuition, the artistic intuition which selects and presents its images by means of a feeling judgment, the philosophical intuition which, in league with a vigorous intellect, translates its vision into the sphere of comprehensible thought, and so forth. A grouping of the unconscious functions also takes place in accordance with the relationship of the conscious functions. Thus, for instance, an unconscious intuitive feeling attitude may correspond with a conscious practical intellect, whereby the function of feeling suffers a relatively stronger inhibition than intuition. This peculiarity, however, is of interest only for one who is concerned with the practical, psychological treatment of such cases. This attempt must always come to grief, since it involves too great a violation of the conscious standpoint. Should such a violation succeed, there ensues a really compulsive dependence of the patient upon the physician, a transference which can be amputated only by brutality, because such a violation robs the patient of a standpoint. His physician becomes his standpoint. But the approach to the unconscious and to the most repressed function is disclosed, as it were, of itself, and with more adequate protection of the conscious standpoint, when the way of development is via the secondary function, thus in the case of a rational type by way of the irrational function. For this lends the conscious standpoint such a range and prospect over what is possible and imminent, that consciousness gains an adequate protection against the destructive effect of the unconscious. Conversely, an irrational type demands a stronger development of the rational auxiliary function, represented in consciousness, in order to be sufficiently prepared to receive the impact of the unconscious. The unconscious functions are in an archaic animal state. Their symbolical appearances in dreams and fantasies usually represent the battle or coming encounter of two animals or monsters.